Hello my love friend. Welcome to Blow Up, where we dive into the wildest, most unhinged stories from Reddit. Today we've got 6 epic tales of gas pump disasters, toddler chaos, and petty revenge that'll have you laughing and gasping. Are these Redditors petty geniuses or total savages? Grab a drink, hit that like button, and let's get into the madness. This is my wife's petty revenge. Yesterday she was at a Shell station parked at a pump about to get out of her SUV to get gas. Her door was about halfway open when some Karen whipped into the parking lot and nearly took her door off. She then glared at my wife with what she described as the stink eye, like it was her fault. The Karen then pulls up to the pump, opens her gas cap, puts the nozzle in her tank and fills up. Then she runs inside for a minute to pay or maybe pick up some snacks, who knows. It is obvious to my wife that this Karen is in a crazy hurry. The Karen then comes back out to her car and hops into the driver's seat, forgetting that she left the gas pump nozzle in her vehicle. My wife is a super polite person and usually goes out of her way to help people. If you drop $20 on the ground, she would be the first person to pick it up, tap you on the shoulder and hand it back to you. So, in this situation she would normally flag down the driver and let them know that the gas pump nozzle was still attached to their car, but not today. On this occasion, pettiness got the best of her. I think you know where this is going. The Karen stepped on the accelerator with the pump nozzle still in her car. Scree seach. She did some serious damage to her vehicle and possibly the gas pump. Then my wife smiled as she got into her SUV and drove off, first double-checking to make sure the gas pump nozzle was not still attached. There are comments that Karen nearly rips off her door, gives the stink eye, and then yeets the gas pump. Wife letting her learn the hard way is peak petty karma. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have warned the Karen like she usually would, or let her face the consequences like this? Have you ever seen instant karma like this? Share below. From gas pump chaos to aquarium antics. Took the family, husband, kids, 1.5 years old human wrecking ball, to the aquarium, went to see the open ocean feeding. We got there 30 minutes early to snag good seats. Mission accomplished, husband and kids seated. I ran 2 of the kids to the bathroom. When I came back about 20 minutes before showtime, some random 10 to 12-year-old kid had wedged himself right next to my husband. As my husband stood up to pass me the toddler, the kid scooted down the bench, leaving one tight spot. Awkward, but whatever, I sat down. My husband stood behind us, kids on the floor next to me. Cue my toddler immediately starting to climb on the railing like a caffeinated monkey. I eventually gave him my seat so he could sit and hang on the rail, and sat down on the floor next to my other kids. And then, the kid tried it again. As soon as I got up, he slid further down the bench like he was going for a gold medal in seat stealing. At that point, I made a decision. Enjoy sitting next to my fully charged toddler. The show starts, and my son proceeds to get up, sit down, hang on the railing, rinse and repeat about 4,782 times. The kid is visibly annoyed. I am spiritually thriving. Bonus, there was no one behind us, so my toddler's antics weren't bothering anyone but him. When my son hopped off the seat for a second, the kid tried to scoot in again and I hit him with a, "Excuse me, he's sitting there." He moved. When he tried it again, I said, "You already scooted us off the bench. My son's sitting there." Mom voice, activated. No parents in sight the entire time. Just me, my chaos goblin, and one very annoyed seat thief. Was it petty? Absolutely. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. There are comments that, this kid thought he could steal seats like a pro, but met a toddler with Olympic-level chaos energy. Moms, enjoy the show, vibe is iconic. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have let your toddler loose on the seat thief like she did, or called him out differently? Have you ever dealt with a seat stealer? Share below. From toddler terror to workplace warfare. I worked in the OR at small hospital in a small town. Overall, the staff were pretty good, but management was awful. The head nurse, Linda, was upset because the OR director hired me with consulting her. They were very short-staffed and using extremely expensive travel nurses. Linda seemed to resent me for being there, but I had done nothing wrong. She scheduled me to take call on every major holiday because I was single and I was frequently stuck doing the worst cases. After a year, I decided the job wasn't a good fit and found a new position an hour and a half away. I gave 4 weeks' notice, only 2 was required, with my last day being Friday, November 30th. The week after I gave notice, a new 4-week schedule was posted that showed my last full day as Friday, but Linda had also scheduled me to be on call that weekend, Friday, Sat and Sunday. I reminded her that my last day of work was Friday, at the end of my regularly scheduled shift, and I would not be available to take call. My plan was to make Friday my last day, load the U-Haul on Saturday and move, unpack on Sunday and start my new job on Monday. I reminded her 2 more times after that. Monday of my last week rolls around and the schedule remained the same. I said nothing. On Friday I finished my shift, say goodbye to a few of the staff, left my ID and pager at the desk and departed. Linda never even acknowledged that it was my last day or said goodbye. An hour later the secretary calls and says, "You left your pager here and you're on call." I told her no, I wasn't on call, that as of 3:30 today I was no longer employed by the hospital and that I had reminded Linda 3 times that I wasn't available to take call this weekend. Linda had to cover call for that weekend. I heard through a friend that she was pissed and had to cancel her plans because no one else was willing to take call at the last minute. There are comments that Linda schedules her for holidays, ignores her notice, and expects her to work after quitting. Dropping the pager and dipping is a boss-level exit. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have walked out like she did or covered the weekend to avoid drama? Have you ever had a boss ignore your notice like this? Share below. From hospital havoc to a blast from the past. So I 55F was having issues with my sciatic nerve and made an appointment for a massage. My usual therapist was on vacation, so I had someone new. Let's call her Sarah, which is a pretty common name. She was great and did a great job. No complaints about her skill. But I couldn't shake the feeling I knew her. She looked familiar but I couldn't place her. We did the usual question thing. Do you live around her, where did you go to school, etc., and didn't come up with a common denominator because we only went back as far as high school. I should also explain that she didn't recognize me, nor my name, because when I was in school I went by my nickname, and as an adult I was using my full married name, so instead of D. Jones I was Diane Smith, so there was no way for her to recognize my name. When I was in junior high there were 2 girls who were best friends and absolute bullies to me for some reason. Let's call them Sarah and Donna. I get shoved, hit, punched, and worse, and more than once had books knocked out of my arms. Teachers never did anything and my years at the junior were miserable. Fortunately we ended up at different high schools. Back to my massage. When the massage was over I got dressed and went to pay. That's when I saw the receipt with her last name on it. Sarah Brown, and it all fell into place. Sarah came out to check on me and hand me a bottle of water and told me to soak in the tub with Epsom salts. I wasn't going to say anything. It was such a long time ago but I couldn't help myself. She had traumatized me. So I said, "So Sarah, I just saw your last name in the receipt and realized where I know you from. When you and Donna were terrorizing me in ABC Junior High, did it ever cross your mind that you would one day me massaging my ass?" Then I told her, "You would have known me as D. Jones back then. Give my love to Donna." And walked out, leaving her with a stunned look on her face. I know it was petty but I couldn't help myself and I tell the story to everyone else. Someone just called me out in my age. Forgive me. I lurk but don't post often, so I apparently didn't follow protocol. I read a story here earlier that reminded me of this event. What I should have said was, "I'm 62F and this happened a few years ago." Instead, I mistakenly gave my age at the time the event happened. Sorry for the confusion. There are comments that, from junior high terror to butt massaging karma? Dropping that bombshell and strutting out? D. Jones just won the Revenge Olympics. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have called out your old bully like she did or let it slide? Have you ever run into a former bully years later? Share below. From bully showdowns to family feuds. Technically she is my half-sister. But moving forward, I had been trying to get a restraining orders against my mother, her husband, and my half-sister. With everything I had it should have been a done deal. But the judge though otherwise and denied it. Before we left the courtroom my lawyer asked to put a statement on the record which was that I had all the power and if they showed up on your property I have the right to have them arrested. I told him I understood and then looked directly at them and said, "If you show up on my property I will not ask you to leave or tell you to leave. I'll just call the police. You will be arrested and I will press full charges for trespassing." A little on my sister. She is spoiled. My parents put all their money and efforts on her and it's now biting them in the ass. Read prior posts on my family to get a better understanding. But the long story. We come from money. She was the chosen one. She got everything. I built my own life. I'm getting ready to move and have been packing and she showed up yesterday. I did exactly as I told them I would. I didn't ask or tell. I just called 911 and explained the situation. The police showed up, asked her what was going on. She said I was her brother and that she wanted to talk. I told the police and her that she had no business being her and to arrest her and I was pressing full charges. And they did just that. I feel nothing. The level of hatred I have for her is dangerous. She has treated me like less than any kind of a living human being my entire life. She thrives on this. I feel like I was perfectly justified in doing this. They knew what would happen if any of them showed up. So faithful. There are comments that half-sister thought she could waltz onto his property after all that drama? Straight to jail with no chit-chat? That's cold-blooded justice. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have called the cops like he did or given her a chance to leave? Have you ever had to cut off a toxic family member? Share below. From family jail time to bus stop battles. Thank you for the support I have received since I posted it yesterday. I've always been embarrassed by this story and the possibility of stress. I caused the family by trying to avoid confrontation, but to hear now that I wasn't in the wrong has been very stress relieving. I, 34F, have lived in a very nice part of conservative Oregon State for 5 years, and this is not an easy state to be accepted when you're a family of 4, M38, kids 10 M7F, from OC SoCal. It's like we have been transported to another planet. And shout out to parents, it's been awful dealing with the staring parents at the school bus stops. Oh my god. They stare at my style, hair and tattoos like I'm an alien. I refuse to wear leggings, so it's like they take that as a personal insult. I've always avoided the lot of them and kept a polite distance, get my kids in bail. But there was one mom that was like the leader. I even heard her say once, "Yeah, I'm the neighborhood mom. In case blah blah." She drove her husband's huge truck and thought she was the shit, revving it up and down the street. Our apartment complex, all the families that wait at this stop live here, was within eyesight. It was so close. I walked every day to teach my kids to not be lazy and to not be afraid of the weather. I always kept my distance, but what made my skin crawl is the woman couldn't park the truck. It was the first in-person school year since COVID, and she was parking on the sidewalk directly in front of the corner that the bus pulled up to. I was the only parent that walked each day despite the weather. On one particular day there was snow on the ground. She and one of the other creeper moms were sitting in the truck with the windows down, so I actually stopped and said, "Hey, do you mind not parking on the sidewalk? It's hard to get by." Completely calm, just a passing comment. She immediately responds with, "I drive a big truck. Deal with it." I was not expecting that reaction at all. Her friend was closest to me on the passenger side, frantically trying to roll up the windows, but at the last couple inches I come out of shock and say, "Then learn how to drive it, then walk away." The next day I walk up the sidewalk and there she is in the rain, now blocking the sidewalk. I call the non-emergency police line and they said they will keep an eye on the corner for afternoon drop-off. When the afternoon comes, there is a black Tesla sitting there with gray lettering that says, "Police." Truck bitch pulls up on the sidewalk, not seeing him. She's bumping 2000s techno and has kids jumping around. He walks over and talks to her and leaves. I then get a call from the officer to offer some comfort, I guess. He gave her a ticket for driving with kids not in their seatbelts and gave her a warning for parking on the sidewalk, forcing people to go around her into the street on the icy ground. He told me to call him again if she keeps doing it and to stay away from her. She's an angry person. I don't see her till the next week. Guess where she parks? I call the officer's direct hashtag he had given and he comes within minutes pulling right along her truck. All the parents are staring. But I do notice that the friend that had been in the truck is now staring at me. I stared straight at the street ahead of me, praying for the bus to appear because I was trying not to laugh. I have always left these women alone, kept my distance. It's been a couple years now. One of their sons even went up to my son and told him, "Did you know your mom is a bad person?" I never did anything, never approached the parents. I ignored it and used it as a lesson for my son. Now I found out how far her new tickets have added up to. She racked up $800 in tickets. She hasn't gone to the bus stop since. I eventually figured out she does still live here. I haven't seen her at the bus stop since the second cop interactions. I see her driving around. Now she drives an ugly little gold Honda. I'm the last person that wants to fuck with you. But if you won't stop, what can I do? Update the story of the truck. After the final ticket, she stopped showing up at the bus stop. But I eventually figured out that she still lives here because she drives by every day in the morning and in the afternoon because her kids still go to the same school and she's on the same schedule. I see her on the same driving schedule and she stares at me over her shoulder, but I don't know how she could know I had any effect on the situation. This year 2025 I have seen her at school events with a new man, so I don't think the husband just took the truck away on timeout. I think the husband left her at some point and literally took the truck away with him. Add-on, keep in mind that I did not call anybody to report her driving with kids hanging out of her truck or in the back of the truck. I only called to see if they would keep an eye on the bus stops because in the bad weather people were parked in the sidewalk. I didn't report her license plate or anybody specific, so the day that she rolled up with the kids all over the truck, the cop went up to her on his own, and she argued with the cops, yelling that she does this all the time. The kids weren't even hers. She was doing carpool. The reason she was at the bus stop was to pick up her kids that take the bus with my kids. There are comments that, truck mom thought she owned the sidewalk, but $800 in tickets and a Honda downgrade? That's what you get for messing with a tattooed mom. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have called the cops like she did or tried talking to her again? Have you ever dealt with a bully parent like this? Share below. From gas pump screeches to toddler takeovers and truck ticket karma, these Reddit stories were pure gold. Who was the pettiest mastermind in these tales? Drop your vote in the comments. Got your own petty revenge story? Share it below. I'm obsessed. Smash that like button, subscribe to Blow Up, and ring the bell for more Reddit insanity. Thanks for watching. See you next time.